ilang instances tayo narinig tapos na nakita natin sa yung mga babae na rape na pinatay. It was almost a daily occurrence. Kaya ang problema dyan, we are up against a law that protects the overage. Yung una is below 9, wala talaga yan. 9 below 12, ano yan? O 12, 16, indeterminate sentence law. Kulong na yan. Pero Boys Town, ang problema dito sa batas ni Pangilinan, itong mga tao na ito, they should be delivered to the DSSD. For what? For counseling and things like that. Walang detention ang DSSD. So pagkatapos ng deliver doon sa DSWD, wala na, lapas na after maybe the intervention of nag-lecture ng ano ang responsibility ng isang citizen of this country, yung mga gano'n, mga batas na. Pero after that, wala. Kaya ako noong fiscal ako, yung may nakapatay na bata na grape tapos pinatay niya, bata rin. Sabi ko, pagkatapos noon, sabihin sa akin ng wala tayong, the law does not confer us anything. We cannot send him to jail or whatever. Hindi mo marindahan. Kaya yun nag-umpisa yung rise ng criminality talaga. Yang sus Mario. Ayaw maniwala ni Pangilinan. So kayong mga Pilipino, kung magboto kayo kay Pangilinan, yung mga biktima ng rape, nakaw lahat, tapos nakalabas, ang sakit na lang ng loob ninyo, nakalabas yung mga offenders, kay Pangilinan niya.
The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lehan. President Duterte insists government services should remain in full swing despite the rise in COVID-19 infections. But some agencies are already shuttering operations due to a lack of healthy staff. Camille Samonte has the report.
President Duterte says government offices should remain fully operational to ensure the effective delivery of public services. Duterte made this remark amid an uptick in COVID-19 cases among government personnel, including healthcare workers in public hospitals.
Alam mo, kung bawalan tayo, tapos lahat sa gobyerno kasi opisina yan. Opisina por opisina por opisina. Ngayon, if bawalan mo lahat magtrabaho, then the machinery of government will stop to grind. Then sino ngayon ang what is the face of government at this time? Tayo sa public, we do not want to, hindi naman violate, we do not want to do it.
Duterte noted that some agencies are doing its effort to mitigate the short staffing.
Now, mag-compromise tayo. That's part of the game. Yan ang trabaho namin. Ngayon, kung magka-COVID kami, then so be it. Kasali sa trabaho yan eh. Now, kung mamatay ako, then so be it.
Under Alert Level 4, government agencies will remain fully operational with at least 20% on-site capacity for workers. The Department of Foreign Affairs, however, announced that operations of its consular services and off-site passport services will be temporarily suspended due to the rise of COVID-19 cases among personnel. The temporary suspension of operations will be from January 12 to 20. During the said period, no passport or apostille applications will be processed or released. DFA Undersecretary Dodo Dulay said more than 50 personnel tested positive for COVID-19. Most of their staff are also identified as close contact and need to undergo quarantine. The agency will be implementing a skeleton workforce during the temporary closure.
Nagkaubusan ng mga tao at ang nangyayari pag hindi namin ginawa ito, Camille, baka mas lumala, lalo kami hindi makapag-operate for a longer time. So we just need to do this now while people are still not that widespread pa yung infection and yung iba namin ina-assume namin na positive, symptomatic. So we hope that with this short time out, it's really just a period of 7 working days.
Passport and apostille applicants who are affected by the temporary closure will be given a new schedule to be posted at DFA's website. The Land Transportation Office also suspended its operation beginning January 10. In a statement, the LTO said the main office will be closed for disinfection after majority of employees who interact with clients have either tested positive for COVID-19 or have been tagged as close contacts. The LTO also reiterated that it will extend the validity of driver's licenses expiring in January to March for another 2 months. The PNP meanwhile continues to see a spike in COVID-19 infections among its ranks. Data from the PNP Health Services showed that 436 new COVID cases were reported on Monday, bringing the total active cases to nearly 1,884. PNP Chief General Bernardo Carlos tested positive and is still in isolation. The PNP Health Services said the quarantine facility in Camp Crame is already full. Out of the 380 beds, only 16 beds remain vacant.
Ginagawa namin ngayon siya ng paraan. Ngayon is nakahanap kami ngayon nandito ng isang area of venue for the additional quarantine facilities. Inatis namin yung concerns namin dito once na magkaroon pa dito ng upset sa maas pa. We are ready for the increase of COVID patient for among the PNP personnel.
But the PNP assured that their services will not be hampered despite the increasing number of COVID-19 infections in the force. For News 5, Camille Samonte, we are One News.
The health department is mulling prioritized COVID testing as cases surge in the country. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeire says swab testing used to be critical for surveillance purposes. But nowadays, she says the value of testing is just for clinical management. As such, the agency is looking to prioritize certain populations in the conduct of swab tests.
That we should be able to prioritize our testing. No? Ang testing dapat, clinical management, i-prioritize natin yung mga vulnerable natin. Senior citizens, those with comorbidities, yung mga immunocompromised, our healthcare workers. Aside from that, if it's for the community, we use antigen tests, especially if they are symptomatic or they are close contacts, we can use antigen.
The FDA says it's now evaluating 2 self-administered COVID-19 test kits as the testing capacity in the capital region nears its limit. FDA Director General Oscar Gutierrez says these kits were endorsed by the RITM to undergo technical validation. Health Secretary Francisco Duque, meanwhile, said that the government and private sector are building more RT-PCR laboratories.
Our expansion is ongoing because we would want that every province will have an RT-PCR, but also the private sector is building more RT-PCR laboratories. So in all, we have 312 laboratories from 1 to 312.
President Rodrigo Duterte says assistance to typhoon victims should come first before damage assessment. Duterte said this as the government continues to provide cash assistance and relief operations to victims of Typhoon Odette. That's why he's appealing to lawmakers to make necessary changes to allow the government to send help before completing the post-disaster assessment. At the same time, Duterte also stressed the danger of living in the coastal waters of Siargao Island.
Delikado talaga yan. Kaya yung coastal dyan sa Siargao, dapat hindi na payagan yan. It's up to the mayors sa mga lugar nila to just insist on the obedience of the law to protect the people living in those areas.
On the other hand, Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana says that there is still a shortage of materials needed to rebuild homes damaged by Typhoon Odette. He's suggesting the use of toppled coconut trees as a source of lumber for construction.
Inauthorize na yung gamitin yung mga coconut trees na naputol. Pero ang problema, how to convert these coconut trees into lumber for construction.
Apple is stepping up its game this 2022. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman has the latest on Apple's new products this year, from a revamped iPhone 14, new AirPods, and potentially its first mixed reality headset. That and more on this edition of Power On.
After a modest product year in 2021, Apple's looking to step it up in 2022 with several new Macs, a revamped iPhone 14, new AirPods, and even the potential unveiling of its first mixed reality headset. Let's start with the iPhone. The company's planning a new iPhone SE with 5G for the first half of this year. Later this year, Apple will of course launch the iPhone 14 with a redesign and a hole-punch front-facing camera to replace the notch. Apple also continues to work on satellite messaging features for the next iPhone. The iPad Pro is destined to get its first design changes since 2018, complete, also in for a big 2022, with a redesign coming to the AirPods Pro. Those are expected to get better sound and potentially get smaller with a shorter stem. The company's also considering releasing the AirPods Max headphones in new colors. Apple Watch users should look forward to 3 new models, including a new low-end Apple Watch SE, a high-end Apple Watch Series 8, and a brand new Extreme Sports model with a rugged casing. Mac fans can look out for a supercharged Mac Pro, the first of its kind with Apple Silicon, a new iMac Pro with a much larger display, and the biggest MacBook Air redesign in the product's history. The capstone of the year, however, could be the company's announcement of an upcoming augmented and virtual reality headset, so stay tuned for more on that. I'm Mark Gurman, this is Power On.
Here's a quick look at some of today's headlines. The NCR is nearing its testing limit as the country posts record high daily COVID-19 infections. Comelec is now investigating the alleged hacking of its servers ahead of the 2022 elections. And the Senate releases Pharmally executive Twinkle Dargani. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lehan. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We're One News.